America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will call the January 19th, 2023 Village Board meeting to order. Roll call shows all board members are in attendance, department heads. The only ones missing are Chris and Allie, and they have been excused. For agenda changes, there are none. 5, the consent agenda. A, January 5th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes. B, licenses and permits as presented. C, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. If there are no questions, we would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, Peter?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. There are none. 7, committee reports. There are none. 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There is none. And 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on O-1-23, amending single-family residential zoning ordinance.
This was something put through as a suggestion through the Planning and Zoning Committee after we brought it to them. Basically, our current zoning ordinance for single family is pretty restrictive, that it has to have a 12,500 square foot lot as a minimum area. The idea is to shrink it down a little bit. It puts it at 9,000 square feet for the minimum lot area. It also changed the minimum rear yard setback to 20 feet rather than 25 feet. And added in a driveway setback of 5 feet from the side lot line. And because we did have an instance where a resident put their driveway right on the lot line, which causes issues with the neighbor. So that was one fix we did. The other thing was a side yard setback was how it was. You need to have a minimum of 8 feet, but a total of 20 combined. We just took it as a minimum of 8 feet and got rid of the 20 feet combined. So that was kind of the changes that we looked at when we were looking at how we could better have some of the houses in the older area come into being in conforming rather than non-conforming houses, and also doesn't restrict us on development wise for the minimum lot area.
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, I just, Nathan and I had talked about this housing, it was a brief seminar I went to last fall, and they're recommending much more flexible housing ordinance because of the need for more affordable housing for people, single family, rentals, multifamily. There's a real shortage, so I would think whatever we can do to promote that would be a good thing.
Any more questions? If not, I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve O-1-23, amending the single-family residential zoning ordinance.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. B, discussion and possible action on raise order for the property located at 424 West Embarrass Street.
So the raise order is part of the packet, which you can read through. Basically, the house is in complete crumbling. You have holes in the roof that go all the way through, that you can see through from the bottom on the street side. The assessed value on the whole property is $5,200.
This house should have been torn down 5 years ago. We had a fire there.
I was just gonna ask if that was where the fire was.
So at this point, we went through the raise order, we're gonna be going through the raise order process. He has a option to contest it. Basically, he would need to be able to fix it for $2,958 and to make it livable, so. Probably won't happen.
Trying to figure out where this is located.
It's on the corner of Cherry and Embarrass.
Front door faces the church.
Yep.
Have you received a response yet at all? Can you go back to the other?
It-
Or no,
It
this
has
is the
not been
razor.
sent.
It has not been sent. Okay, I'm sorry.
So there's actually no water and no electricity, nothing. No one's lived in this
They're
house
just
for
storing
years and
stuff there.
years.
Yeah, he's been storing crap there. I mean, if you look at the top left picture here, you can see a bunch of the
Most of
junk
the
out
driveway,
by the,
yeah.
by the garage. So,
You know, there used to be a truck that was missing,
the truck's there still, just, the tire's fixed.
oh, the tires, yeah, it was sitting there with
Took a
no
while
tire and
for us to get that
no
done.
hub and
Yeah.
just up on
Block.
bricks and block, yeah. That's sat there for a long time.
So basically, you need a motion to go ahead with the raise order.
Yeah, sure.
I'll make a motion to proceed with the raise order for the property located at 424 West Embarrass Street.
Second.
Roll call. Peter?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on appointment of Ann, is it Thapert, to the library board? I would just need a motion to
Do you
approve her.
want, if you want any information on this individual, I can just do a brief. She lives in Greenville, so we needed a library board member from outside of the village. And so she lives in Greenville, she has 30-plus years experience in HR and personnel, both in corporate and the smaller settings. She was on a library board when they lived in Oakfield, so she has experience on a library board too. So I think both Mike Workus, our president, and Ally felt good about her being the choice to take that spot.
Okay, then I would just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ann Seifert to the library board.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, discussion and possible action on resolution R-3-23, resolution to allocate 2022 amounts to village reserve funds.
So this is something we do yearly at the end of the year. This was the amounts that were received in under those revenue sources that get basically typically earmarked for those activities.
Are there any questions? If not, I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve R-3-23, resolution amending current reserve funds.
Second.
Roll call. Peter?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried. E, discussion and possible action on resolution R-4-23, resolution to urging legislature and governor to fix broken system of funding critical local services.
This is something the league has put together for all the villages, along with the towns and counties, basically to urge the tying of, well, that's one thing they're looking at is trying to tie the 1 cent to our shared revenue that we currently, I believe is, so in 2003 it was at 533,000 and this year it's at 464. So yearly it's been dropping when it's supposed to kind of at least keep up with inflation or something. So the idea is to have the municipalities basically urge legislators, and then we send this to them and meet with them to discuss tying the 1 cent, potentially tying 1 cent to our shared revenue. So as sales increase over time, at least we'll have some increases potentially in our shared revenue, where currently it's been frozen for years or dropped.
Any questions?
Do we know who's on the committee that would first look at these resolutions? Like anybody local?
So, basically the idea at this point is if this gets approved, I basically sit down with, our rep in our area who was just elected, it's Peter
Okay.
Schmidt. So, the finance committee, I don't believe he's on that. Typically that's usually run by, members who've been there a while. So, none of our members or nearby are on that committee that I know of, because we looked at Greenville's area and actually the Wabaka area, and most of those are all not part of that, so. But those areas, I believe, are meeting with their reps as well, so.
So this is just more of a formality, we're just not really sure what's gonna happen, I mean.
Just makes us
goal
a
is to have
participant in this.
The
We're-
goal is to
yeah.
have the state do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, their portion of shared revenue has significantly decreased in part of our budget.
And there's a huge surplus.
Yeah, I don't think we're really concentrating on the surplus
I
because it's
get
a
it.
one-time thing.
Yeah,
I think we would rather have something that's gonna potentially go up yearly.
Continue, yeah.
it should.
Right, so,
Mhm.
I believe we're concentrating more on that rather than the surplus.
So you just need a motion for this.
Yes.
I will make a motion to approve R-4-23, urging legislature and governor to fix broken system of funding critical local services.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action on Hortonville, Hortonia radio grant expenses.
So this was something put together by the fire department, and I think I'll turn it over to Jack to talk about the radios, right?
I can, yep, unless Jim wants to.
Well, I just
So,
handed off my last copy, so.
Last year, we put in,
I don't know, Mr. Jack. He knows all the rest.
Got it?
last year we put in for a radio grant with the rest of the fire departments in Outagamie County. We did it countywide. We put, each department put a number of radios that they needed for seated positions, which came for a total, you can see third column there, that was the total that it came up for all the fire departments was 4 million, a little over 4 million. The grant that we went in for had a max payout of just under 2 million, which is column 5. That's what we received. We received the biggest grant county-wise. But the highlighted, I don't know if you can see it, probably not on Nathan's big board there, but I got it highlighted for ours. So we went in for 29 radios. We got knocked down to 15 because of the reduce in the grant, which gave our total of $109,685. It was a 10% match grant. So the fire department or the village town has to pay the $10,968.50 to get them 15 radios.
But essentially you wanted 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 10,968.50 gets you the 15, but is it on the agenda that we can talk about this? But
Yep.
to get the full 29?
We would have to buy them separately, and they're just under $8,000 a radio.
Okay.
So we can get by with, right now, we can get by with the 15 radios and use our old radios because they'll be compatible yet. Until the battery fails or they have to go in to get reprogrammed or get fixed. There's no fix in these radios. So we can use the radios we got until they die.
Okay.
So that's what we'll do with the rest of them to get by. I don't think it makes sense for us to ask for 14 more radios at $8,000 apiece. That does not
No.
cost,
No.
so it makes sense.
So Nathan, where would funding come from on this?
So actually, what's budgeted for the CIP, for the fire truck initially, because of the fact that we're estimating, of course, when we're looking at these numbers the year ahead, all of that CIP money for the fire truck would be able to encapsulate this and the truck in a portion of the LOSA, which will be talked about going further on down the road. But definitely the radios and the truck definitely would be covered, and you'd have a little bit left over. We'd have to work more numbers to see on the LOSA portion, but finances are there.
It's like,
Do you have any questions for Jack? Otherwise, we kind of need a motion to go ahead with this.
No, we just have the portion, just Hortonia has the other part, yeah. We still have to meet with their board.
And what percent does the village cover again?
I think it's 62.09.
Yeah, 62.09.
Of the 10,000?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Same thing with our budget. Our annual budget.
Yeah.
so the motion
But
would
it-
need to say that it would cover the Village of Hortonville's portion of the 10,968.50, right?
Yeah.
Then I will make a motion to approve using, CIP funds to supplement the radio grant expense for the village portion of the full amount of $10,968.50.
a second.
Roll call, Peter?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. G, discussion and possible action on Hortonville, Hortonia truck equipment.
So last year, pretty sure everybody knows that we went in for a grant for a heavy-duty rescue. We got denied. The more that we were thinking about it, that to come up with the $600,000 or $700,000 for that type of truck, when we're gonna be asking for, within 10 years, a new pumper, that's probably not the right thing to do either. So talking with Nathan, and still being a safety issue for us, pulling our enclosed trailer, our air trailer with personal vehicles is probably not a smart thing to do, especially if we get in an accident. We could put the village and the town in jeopardy as well as the fire department. So we started talking about getting a pickup. Nathan, I think, brought this up in budget time, that he was putting it in the budget for a pickup. So in your packet, I have 2 quotes, one from World Ford, obviously for a Ford, and then from Flock for a Chevrolet. And Jim has the prices on there. The Ford came in at roughly $62,000. The Chevy came in at about $55,000. So with them prices, that does not include the cap that we want to put on it, and the sirens and lights. So
Does not include.
Yeah,
What's that?
correct.
Does not.
Correct.
So my guesstimation is that this should not exceed 65 to 70,000
Fully equipped.
for everything on there. I still haven't gotten the prices back on that, but
I think there's one correction on both the quote and there was, you were looking at a 24, right? For the Silverado?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
'cause all the
Silverado
paper says
would be
23, but-
by the time we get it ordered, it'll be a 24. Where the Ford had them, are still making 23. So
And then, in addition to that, the rest of the discussion was about upgrading the trailer. So adding the truck to the fire department fleet, and then using the funds from the Hortonia Fire Department fundraiser to do the upgrades that are required for the trailer to make it useful enough replacement in place of the heavy-duty rescue.
Which would come to about how much?
That's their funds.
Unknown?
No, that's their funds. We don't have to,
Okay.
we're not gonna pay anything for that. They're gonna use the fundraiser funds for that.
So is this a loan? Or where's,
Okay, we got CIP funds for it.
again, in the
So
CIP?
we budgeted 75,000, I believe, for fire department truck CIP.
I thought you did 60, but
It might be, yeah.
that'll
it's
still
one
cover,
or the other.
that'll still cover the
But
village's
It
portion.
still covers the village's portion of it all. I did the math earlier this week on it. With the old numbers for the LOSA, there was about 2,000 over with everything approved. But the LOSA thing is something that would have to be probably discussed. I mean, obviously, you could decide if you wanted to go forward with it at this meeting, but obviously the details of that program would probably have to be discussed between the village, the town of Hortonia, and the fire department at a separate meeting, and then the official program approved at a later date, with the details of that program specific for our entity.
And Hortonia needs to approve their portion, right?
Yeah,
And Hortonia would need to approve their portion, right?
yeah, I talked to Andy, he's the Hortonia rep on the fire board, and he said that they had, unlike us where we had allocated or set aside funds for the heavy-duty rescue, they had discussed it but hadn't worked it into their budget and set aside the funds, and they have to have a separate meeting in order to be able to do that. So they don't have, they're not in the same position that we are right now, where we had already anticipated and we took the next steps to have the funds ready, whereas now we're just gonna shift where the funds are gonna go to different equipment. They're not quite to that point, so they still have a couple meetings before they're gonna get to where they need to be.
Was he feeling optimistic that it would happen on their end?
Yeah, I mean, Dennis was at the first meeting where we were talking about he was at the meetings where we were talking about the heavy-duty rescue.
Mhm.
So he's fully aware of the costs that we're looking at. And he didn't have, at the meetings, he didn't have any complaints. I mean, obviously, everybody would have liked to have gotten a grant, but it wasn't presented that we were, a shoo-in to get that money in any way. So it was expected. They just didn't take the same steps moving forward. They don't have an administrator like we do, so
Right.
they didn't go forward and make all of the steps to have the funds ready. And they just need to go through that procedural, but I can't speak for them, but that's what I was told.
Okay,
Yeah, so going forward for the grants, we're still gonna write one this year. It just opened up last week. We're gonna write one for the pumper, instead of the heavy-duty rescue.
So then we would need a motion to go forward with this.
I will make a motion to approve the CIP funds for Hortonville's portion of a truck for the Hortonville, the Silverado, not to exceed $70,000 for the Hortonville Fire Department.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Peter.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. H, discussion and possible action on Hortonville Hortonia LOSA.
I'm gonna ask that you guys allow for Mr. Belisle to come up and speak on this, as he has a background on it.
Okay. Jeremy?
Hi,
Aye.
so it's kind of exciting. I've been on for 25 years. The program, the Length of Service Awards Program was established in 1998. So it was a retirement fund for firefighters, volunteers, EMS, and everything like that. I got on in 97, and when I went to school, they talked to us about it. And now, 25 years later, we're finally thinking about getting a retirement package for our group. So that's very thankful for you guys to be able to think about us for that. I just started really getting my knuckles deep into all of it, and I met with Greenville Fire Department. Granted, they're 4 times bigger in monies and all that other stuff, so I got the background of it. Chad's been helping me also with it, Chad Mara. So the 2024 budget that you guys would put together, that you guys would approve in October, is that accurate? Give or take? You would put the funds in there for approval, and then in 2024, back feed 2023. So the program wouldn't really start till 2024. So we actually have time. Our insurance lady, who I talked to at the Horton group, I think Nathan talked to her too, she is willing to come up here and talk to the board in a month or whatever and kind of go over the details of it. It's pretty easy, it really is. We have to, as a group, whoever's on that committee, establish a point system of how you participate. You get funds allocated into your retirement fund. So if you're just on the fire department and you don't participate hardly at all, we don't have to put any funds into that. So it's kind of a floating scale. Right now, the state this year matched $450.15 per person in the plan. Hortonville and Hortonia don't have to put in 450 to match it, but if Hortonville and Hortonia put in 100, then the match would be 200. So you kind of want to max out the 450 that the state's going to give us. So I would assume at least 225 is what would be put into it per volunteer fireman. EMS can be separate and EMS can be together. That's however we want to work through it. But that's about the detail of it. It's the numbers that we went through, Chad and I went through. If you fund it fully with the 45 members that we have, it's $20,256.75. So that would be in 2024, backfeeding into 2023. And then the match then from the state would be the same amount. So each firefighter or EMS who's in it, if you were 100% participating, that's what we want, more training, more everything. And to keep people on the fire department instead of leaving, we get about $900 a year. And then it's a 3% interest as it comes. And then you're fully vested at 10 years. No, 50% vested at 10 years. And then at 15 years and 60 years old, you're fully vested, and then the village doesn't put into you. You get it taken out through the state. You have to take it out on 1099. So there's a little bit of detail there. I'm almost telling you all of it, like literally. When she comes up and talks to you about it, it's not that difficult, is it? But the details to put it together would be. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just asking if we can have someone on your board. Jack's probably easier. Myself, Chad, and then another representative, whoever would like to be a part of it. Nathan knows quite a bit about it as well. And then we just sit down and set up a plan for the lady, Michelle, I think her name is, to come up and talk about it. And then move forward with the details on it and then present it in May-ish. So that by the time it gets around to August, you guys have all the information you need and how you want to do it. And then it's in the budget for next year, in October.
The reason that we're looking at this, and I brought it up to the district, is, you know, we put 18 new guys on in the last 2 years, which no department can come close to that. And we're the lowest paid department in the area as well. So we got to somehow retain our guys. We got them through schooling, they're state certified. Somehow we got to reimburse these guys and keep them interested, or keep them here. So that's one reason why we looked at it.
And we actually don't get paid. We're the only volunteer fire department in the area,
Strictly volunteer.
strictly volunteer, that is volunteer. Greenville's budget for their volunteer firemen, without the 3 people that man it, is $100,000. That's what they pay their volunteers. Dale's is 58, Ellington's is 14, 15. They have 4 guys. So they get paid, plus they get the retirement. So when our guys go to school and they come back and then we're at training and they start talking about it, that everybody's getting paid. You know, we're celebrating 150 years this year. We're one of the oldest ones in the state, firefighters, and we're the only ones that aren't getting paid. So I guess we're really not asking to get salaries and paid on calls and everything like everybody else is, but we're just kind of looking for a little bit of retirement fund for the guys. There's also a buyback program. It's a one-time deal. It's 14 years back. So Chad and I went through it the other day, and it's, so go back to 2009, whoever was on it was on for 5 years fully. There was 22 members. These are retired people. That would be about $15,000, because it's $100 a year to buy back for your years of service. So it's about $15,400. That's just some numbers. We don't have to do that. It's just something to think about. I mean, you got guys that have been on for a long time. And then the active since 2009, there's 45 people that are on actively as of right now, and that's 435 years of service that we've got in right now since 2009. So that'd be about 43,500. So you take the $60,000 and you can put it in the budget, pump it into 2024. It's a one-time buy, puts everybody in. They're fully vested. And then it's $20,000 a year. Is all it would be.
So what we're looking to do tonight is just kind of a head nod to give Nathan the go-ahead to start at least learning about this, or what are we doing?
Well, I mean, it's like 5 pages is all it is, and it's in your packet.
Yeah.
I read through it. For the, I think talking about going back in time is something that probably the board would need to kind of talk a little more on and kind of flesh that out a little more. I think the program itself is, yeah, if you want, I would probably say, I wouldn't say a head nod, I'd say an actual motion to kind of move forward with trying to figure out how we want to have this plan done, I guess.
2024.
Right, I mean, we'd have to come back with the official plan once they have their point system figured out. There's a few other things to kind of work out, is kind of who's managing and overseeing as much of the program too. And I gotta get some clarification from legal on that.
Are you, not to cut in, are you talking about keeping track of it all?
Well, no, but it basically in, where is it? It's one of the first paragraphs. It kind of talks, or on the second page, it talks about a joint district and who can be the rep of it. I just need legals to make sure that if they're talking about a municipal entity or the fire department itself could be its own entity, tracking. So that's what I just need clarification on more than anything else.
And we would take care of it. When I was talking to Eric Katowski, not to cut in, but Eric Katowski's got a spreadsheet all set up, and their point system is similar to what we would kind of do. We're gonna have to tweak ours on for the district and stuff, but we would take care of that, and then we enter all the information in, and then it would be dispersed to the board. It would be pretty simple, and not very much admin time on your end that I can see at this point. We'll take care of it.
The only thing that would be kind of a drawback potentially, if you think of it like that, would be if someone left the Hortonville, Hortonia Fire Department, went to Greenville's Fire Department because they moved. Those funds get frozen at the Hortonia Fire Department and get transferred over. So
Kind
they
of
follow
like
the-
WRS.
What?
So kind of like WRS,
Yes.
sort of like that.
Yes, but the other thing is if someone quits prior to their tenure, that gets redistributed amongst the members that are in the current Hortonville Fire Department. So it does have a little bit of benefit there, but the only potential loss is if someone goes to another community that has this program, it follows them.
So, Jack, how many people typically in the department are making 20 years?
What's that?
How many people in the department typically are making 20 years?
Right now, we got, how many, Jeremy? You guys counted Tuesday?
We have 30.
That made it
30.
20 years?
24.
That are 20 years?
Section 4.
22 that at 15, because it goes back, you're fully vested at 15 years, so that's where
So we
I
probably
didn't go
only
back
have
to
another
20 years.
dozen that are probably at 20 years.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
and out of that, how many people, just a round guess here, how many people do you think have come and go, that don't make it to 10 years or just make it to 10? Or somewhere
Right
between
now,
10
we're
and
pretty
15.
fortunate, we don't have a big turnover, but
Well,
we
I mean-
probably have,
You're just trying to see how many
Yeah.
funds are
we've
getting
Yeah.
probably
lost
had
and transferred
10,
here.
we probably had a dozen guys that have getting like 10 years.
Okay.
Jeremy, where are these funds deposited? In a state program?
I can't answer that.
No,
Locally?
it basically, there's 3 approved contractors. One's Horton Group, which we work with for our health insurance, so
Okay.
they basically manage it.
And that's what
So
the
the
ones are, that
administrator-
are listed
What?
here.
They do the administrative part of it?
Right, so they
On
charge
the
a fee and,
sheet?
yeah.
Mhm. They're listed on the sheet, right?
Hopefully you try
Yep.
to forget,
Yeah.
because we gotta keep it money.
No, we don't, everybody else does.
And
No,
Flex is
they're
what I
over 10,
spoke with,
then
and
they go.
that's
then
what
we
get
Greenville
50%
has,
of
their
it.
administrative fees are $2,300. The Horton Group is quarter of that, being 800. And she would work with us, because she's got all of her other stuff, so. They have 30,000 volunteer firemen and EMS that they take care of. So right now, she literally can't come and talk to us because it's right now is when they're, so like at the beginning of 2024, she'd be doing the same thing for us. She's trying to get all that squared away and everything put together, so she's not really available until March.
So is it a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 match?
It's a 1-to-1 match.
It's a 1-to-1 match.
The reason it sounded 2-to-1 is because they were saying 100 from Hortonia and 100 from Hortonville equals the 200, and that's why the state matches the 200, correct?
Okay,
So
but
they-
it wouldn't be 100 from
No,
Hortonville.
no,
Or
no.
Tony would be
No,
putting
it'd be
in their
62
share.
Oh, right.
Hortonville.
I'm sorry, maybe I said that wrong.
Yeah,
If the village and Hortonia say 450-15, which it goes up every year,
Right.
it goes up every year, then the state maximum is 450-15 this
Right.
year.
Like Jeremy said, though, I don't
yeah,
know that the 450 is the way that we need to go. If we would do the 225 between the two municipalities, we'd still get the 450 from
that's what I'm trying
the
to,
state, so
Yes.
that's,
what I'm trying to ascertain here, is the match 2-to-1? So if we contribute
It's-
2 1/4, does the
It
state
depends if you
contribute
look at,
450?
let's look at it from the fire department, not the municipality. Because if you look at it from the municipality,
Yeah,
it's 2-to-1, but
okay,
it's because we have.
it's a 1-to-1.
It's a 1-to-1
But
between
we're-
the fire department and the state.
Yeah, but we
Up
just
to
don't
a
contribute 100%, we're contributing 62.09.
62%, right.
Yeah, okay, so we contribute 140, and Hortonia contributes 60, and that comes out to 200, and then the state would contribute another 200, which would be $400 per person in.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, the reason for my question was trying to figure out, if you had more turnover, then it makes even more sense to contribute less than what the max is, because you would actually be contributing more than the max when it comes, after it's redistributed from people dropping out. You understand where I'm going with that?
Yep.
Okay, so that was the reason.
and the other, we got, like I said, last year when we put these 8 guys on, we had 3 guys retire this year already, and we got probably 3 more or 4 more that are retired by the end of the year, so we'll be down to our 40, our number that we try to hold for the fire department, so that won't necessarily be 45, but by 2024.
And then this list you gave us is all the municipalities that already participate,
Correct.
so
Yep.
we're one of the last ones,
Yeah.
Yes.
so.
But
Well,
the
I-
first one is to be a volunteer firefighter.
Well, I mean, I'm going through the when we first talked about it, it seems like it's a really good idea for retention. It's it's a minimal benefit, and on top of that, the state's gonna match whatever we throw in, towards a benefit, and but it only applies if the firefighter decides to stay on for an extended period of time, so, you know, we're getting more than double the bang for the buck on everything that gets contributed, so it's a great way to, I don't wanna say do it on the, you know, it's minimal impact and for the amount that would be paid out. So it seemed like a really good program. That's gonna also have to go up to Hortonia. I don't know where that one's gonna go with Hortonia though.
How many hours of training do you think that you put in over your,
Well, right now I'm going through officers, fire chief's officers class, even though I've been on the department for 28 years and assistant chief for, how long do we been going? 15?
12 since 12.
So I still have to take officers class, and that is 40 hours just for that class. Otherwise, if they do their firefighter 1 is 160 hours, plus hazmat for another 40. You got 200 hours before you can even basically go into a fire.
you know, so that's just it. We're losing people with experience by not benefiting them.
Just to see the number of hours just to be able to drive.
The average
Yeah.
firefighter probably
Just to
puts
drive a truck
in
with the lights on.
600-700 hours of training.
I just yearly, if you just do the once a month trainings that we do, and you do all 12 of them, you're gonna be at 50 hours a year.
Yeah.
What kind of
So you guys
The
put a lot of
size,
training
yes.
into this, and you hate to lose. It's no different than when we talk about our employees in the village or our police officers. I mean, you're losing experience by not benefiting people,
So is
you
our,
know.
Just a motion to move forward
Is there-
Yeah.
with the process.
well, before, is our EMS volunteer as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
They get some
yeah, we have a,
reimbursement, but it's nothing that covers anything,
yeah,
for the most part. It's
it's enough to cover their gas to go to certain
maybe,
vehicle.
depending on gas prices.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the fire department, they get a clothing allowance, that's all we really do right now.
Yeah, we do nothing for them, really.
Okay, so, I'll make a motion to direct Nathan, the administrator, to go forward with planning.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, Jeremy and Chad.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, board.
I need to be excused for my other obligation. I didn't want to interrupt that discussion, so.
You are excused. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Does anyone have anything? Okay, we'll move to 10, reports of village officials. A, clerk treasurer.
My report was in the packet, and then I handed out the investment sheet. This is what we invested with Pershing, which is through Ellers, just so you can see the interest earned so far. There were the 5 different accounts that we moved from various savings accounts and from the local government improvement program. So that's that. We opened up 2 CDs, one for the village and one for the water sewer. That was $200,000 apiece. Those are earning a little less than Ellers, but they're at 2.23%. So that's about $2,200 of interest earned so far.
What's the term on those?
That's a 13-month,
13, okay. Locally?
yes.
Any questions for Jane? Okay, we will move to B, Director of Public Works.
My report was in the packet as well. One thing that wasn't in there that I just wanted to bring up briefly is last week, Sean took myself and the rest of the staff through the emergency response plan for if we lost power. We went to all the wells, water tower, and lift station, and just ran through the process of what to do when we lose power. And I think that was really good for me to see that process and how well it's thought out, and I think good for some of the younger staff that was there too.
Anyone have any questions for Aaron? Okay, We'll move to C, police chief. Her report is in the packet. Is there anything to add, Nathan?
No.
Okay. We'll go to D, library director. And Ally is out. Do you have anything to add? Pat?
Board meeting next week. We'll be working on the state report, and I think that's all I can think of right now.
Okay. E, attorney.
I do not have it.
Nothing. Okay. F, administrator.
A small workup in the packet, but other than that, just kind of a lot of meetings on ad hoc meeting the other night, which went well. So planning on moving forward there. And a few meetings today with the getting ready for the parks meeting, stuff like that. A lot of long-term planning right now, and yeah.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay, we will move to G, building permit report. It is in the packet. Number 11, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News.
We meet this coming Wednesday, I believe that's the 25th, at 6 o'clock. It's a pretty full agenda, so I'll bring updates to the next meeting.
Okay, we'll go to B, Hortonville Hortonia Fire District News. Jim?
We had a meeting on the 11th. I handed out a synopsis of the things that we discussed, along with the current fund balances for both fire and EMS, and the calls, the number of calls that we had last year versus the average number of calls for both fire and EMS, as well as the calls to date. One note was that I also handed out the year-end budget spreadsheets. Everybody got them, but Jackie's already got a copy, so from the meeting. And one of the things is there is a negative balance in the fire department because they hadn't received Hortonville's payment yet. And there was a question that came up about potentially whether it would be more efficient to do an electronic transfer or continue to do a paper check. So
Yep. You stopped in and picked up your check the one
Okay.
day? Yeah, we talked about that.
So yeah, I told him to see if, I didn't know if it would be better or not, so I told him to talk to you about that.
When you talk about a negative balance, you're talking about on the books or
Just
on an
the-
account?
Just on the books. So
Okay.
it's like a $600 and some negative balance because they have expenditures that are moving forward with the year and they hadn't as of date received our payment.
Okay.
That's all. Next meeting is 3 months.
We'll move to C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. It is in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association.
Nothing.
And E, Senior Activities Committee.
We had our birthday party potluck this past Monday and also had bingo, which I was not here, but I heard it was a big success. There was about 12 to 15 people here. They had a lot of fun, and I think there were we've had such small groups. I think there were 4 or 5 new people, so that's a great sign. We were supposed to meet this afternoon, but due to weather and concerns for some of the driving, we postponed till a week from today at 1 o'clock.
And 12 is comments and suggestions from citizens present. Are there any comments? No? Okay, we would go to 13, and I would need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned.